Thanks for being with us this evening. I'm very happy to have my honored guest, Jonathan Jackson, visiting here in the studio. So, what we'll do is we could talk about what we're going to maybe do in the next few weeks, but just to sort of just feel comfortable and acclimatized to the studio and things like that. I want you to be really comfortable. So, welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So I wanted to talk to you about like how did you come about becoming a speaker? Like what has it been like the last few years? Where did you get the idea? Okay, yeah, great, super. I just have to hold it. Thank you. Kind of where did you get the idea, or did you speak and then say, "Oh my gosh, I love this"? How did it come about?
Well, great question. So actually back in 7th grade,
Mm-hmm.
I saw it's a motivational speaker that's actually from Michigan. His name is Eric Thomas.
Wow.
And he actually, we would watch his Thank God It's Mondays. And it was like a segment that he would do online on YouTube. And we would see it every week in my class. And it would really motivate us. So
Wow.
I looked at it and I'm like, I could do that. So from that,
Wow.
we brought him in for the actual whole school assemblies.
What?
And,
He
you know,
came to the school?
yes, we actually
What a great guy.
fundraised and we were able to bring him in. And when he came in, I just was like, this is what I want to do. So I met him, I spoke with him, and he told me, like, if this is really what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
go for it. So
Awesome.
at the
Awesome.
time, it meant something, but not as much as it does now.
I'm glad.
So over time,
Yeah.
I've been intertwined with different career paths. And
Yes.
even then, everything brought me back to motivational
And
speaking
you know what? Sometimes you have to know what you don't want.
in order to know what you want.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like clarity,
Exactly.
right? So it's good because I feel like education is never wasted, and really kind of like neither are jobs, because there's always something that you're gonna come full circle, or you're gonna be like, oh, I'm so glad I did that because I can say now that I have that experience.
Exactly.
So it's like you never know what it's gonna be, right? It's
Right.
almost like you just have to embark on this path
Hmm.
and just trust, and just like if something sounds exciting, maybe say yes
Hmm.
and try it,
Right.
right? And then see what happens, because I think if we say no to everything, then nothing can ever happen.
I couldn't have said it better. Honestly, through the process,
Hmm.
I went to college, and when I graduated from college, I
Wow.
graduated with a bachelor's of science in marketing, psychology, and health.
Oh my
So through
God.
that path, obviously, I was able to see different paths. And psychology, I'm really good at because it's like, okay, why do people act the way they do? How do they
Yes.
think? Why do they think the way that they do?
Wow.
Then it was health. It was mental health, physical health, emotional health. And then it went to marketing. That was really my passion. And marketing, it was like, okay, well, first it was how do I market someone else's business? And then I was like, well, wait, no, well, how do I market my own business?
Good for
And
you.
everything kind of shifted. So from there, when I graduated, I fully went into my business. I created my business. It's called JTM Speaks, LLC. So JTM stands for J, the motivator.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
JTM Speaks.
Yes.
That's amazing. Do you have a domain? Did you get a domain for that?
Yes,
Like,
yes,
yes.
I did actually.
Very
So I
good.
went through the whole process. I set up the business. I have, QR codes and website
Wow.
and, different things that I put together to where now I'm able to go to schools. I'm able to go to jobs, businesses, do fundraisers,
Wow.
do teamwork building, and,
Yes.
get everybody put together.
It's very what's the word? Like like not satisfying, but like deeply satisfying. I'm
Hmm.
not sure the word, but is that how you kind of have felt because now you're impacting others?
Actually, yes. My biggest goal, one thing that the biggest question that I had to answer in my life was, what is something that I could do that I don't have to get paid for that I love doing, and that was helping people, and that just naturally is what came to me. And
Yeah.
certain people in my life back then would say like, "Oh, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you," or "I would have never been alive if it weren't for you," or "I wouldn't be here anymore." And things on those paths really showed me like, wait a second,
That's
what
powerful.
what is it that I'm saying? What is it that I'm doing that they're
Right.
resonating with?
Right.
And that's where my biggest motto is rehabilitation. You want to rehabilitate yourself from the inside out
Mm.
because
Hmm.
the things that are inside of you is typically what comes out.
Yes, exactly.
And a lot of times, like if we eat something bad, or
Hmm.
if we hear something wrong, or we something bad happens in our day, a
Hmm.
lot of times we allow that moment to define the rest of our day, our
Wow.
week, our month, our life.
Wow.
And when you really fix and heal and grow and fixate on what is it that's really leading me to this bad place, or why do I react like this, or why
Right.
am I living my life like this.
Hmm.
When you find that answer, I promise the end result is going to be the rehabilitation that you go through
Wow.
of saying, whoa, I'm better.
It's amazing because we are rehabilitating from the inside out,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
So you've had some good experiences in your life with like people like aunts and uncles, and you have a very strong family.
Yes.
And so I think that that kind of foundation, you
Hmm.
know, your mom and dad have really kind of, they want everything for you. And it's just really wonderful that you're on a path that you can actually, you know, like impact others, but also
Hmm.
feel good about what you're learning and what you're contributing.
Hmm.
Because you don't expect to like change people's lives. You know,
Right.
you don't expect that.
Right.
So if someone says that to you, it's a profound shift.
Yes, it truly is. And through my journey, I have social media pages and platforms, and I post a lot of videos on there. It's either based on topics that I know that are going to resonate with people,
Right.
or topics that people have told me, like, hey, I'm going through this right now. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I create a whole script for myself, just some quick points just so I can get my thoughts going. And then I create the video. So recently, one of my friends, he said, hey, man, you need to tell your story. You need to tell people why you are the way that you are.
Exactly.
And just to touch on that for a second,
Please.
so I always say that at 17 years old, I went from a boy to a man.
Wow.
17 years old, the pivotal shift was my mother. So my mom, she had a massive stroke. And at the time, being honest, I didn't really know what a stroke was. I was at work, and I worked at the mall at the time.
Yes.
So it was odd because the day before that, or the night before that, I didn't charge my phone. So that never happens. I always charge my phone. I'm always on my phone, especially in this business. You always have to be
reachable.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I didn't charge my phone, and I went to work, and I was working, and I went to lunch,
Normal
grabbed lunch,
day, right?
normal day. And then when I came back from lunch, I saw my uncle. And he was walking towards me, but like I'm thinking, oh, he's at the mall shopping.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, I'm happy. Hey,
Hey,
how
how's it
are you?
going?
And then he kind of zooms in, like it's almost like in the movies where like things slow down for you. And it was like that moment where things just slowed down, and he said, hey, something happened to your mom. You need to go right now. And I froze, and I said, what are you talking about? He said, no, something happened to your mom. We need to go right now. So I went into my job. I told my boss, hey, I have to go. Something happened to my mom. So as I'm walking back out of work with my uncle, I'm like, is she dead? Like, has
Like,
she
what
has
are we
she
talking
passed?
here?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what severity level?
Exactly.
And pretty much he said, no, she's alive. And I said, was it a heart attack? Was it a car accident? He said no. And I was like, okay, well, what happened? And he
Right.
said she had a stroke. At the time, that's all we knew. So I said, okay. But again, I wasn't really too understanding of what that was at the
Yeah,
time. So, we raced down the freeway. And when I walked into the hospital, I literally can feel it. I can remember
Wow.
going up the elevator, and I hear it calling out 6, 7, 8 up to the floor that we were going to.
Goodness.
I remember me raising my voice uncontrolled, like
Yeah.
naturally, to ask what floor she was
What?
on and
Yeah.
where should I go. So we get off the elevator, and I just see my family, and I stop, and I see the looks on their face, and I think the worst. So basically what the doctor said, they came out and they talked to us, and they said, hey, she had a massive stroke. It's not looking too good. But they kind of upplayed it in a way by
they
saying like,
tried
yeah,
to-
like go ahead and go see her, but really she had a 10% chance to live.
Oh my God, they didn't say that. They
Yeah,
didn't tell you that.
they didn't tell, they didn't go into depth. They told my dad, but as a family, they didn't let us know that.
Yeah, you're 17, but it must have been a shock to see, like, can she talk?
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things because she really could only look at me with her eyes. She wasn't able to respond to what I was saying.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was that moment where I felt like things shifted, where it went from like, okay, this is no longer all about me.
yeah.
Now this is about, okay, who am I? Okay, well, what do I believe in? Okay, well, what am I going to do from here? This is my mother, and she's laying in a hospital bed. Where do I go from here?
Mm-hmm.
So
And how does the family now need me?
exactly. How do I show up the right way? What do I say? How am I the strong person in this? you know.
'Cause your dad must have been inside. He must have been like in shock.
Exactly. I mean, everyone was. Again, the reaction spoke for itself. And let me start with saying this. My mom has always been the person that always had it together, as far as whether it was plans or it was traveling or it was work, fun times, anything that she
Like created or bring about.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was always structure. It was order.
Wow.
So it was kind of weird. Like it was like, okay, what's really happening? And this is going back to rehabilitation.
That's true.
Hmm.
That's true. That's a major theme,
Exactly.
isn't it?
And from this process, after they said that she had, excuse me,
No problem.
after she said, after the doctors let us know that she had a 10% chance to live, and they said that she needed immediate surgery, and when she went into surgery and went through that whole process, it was just kind of like, I've never had to have that much faith in my life,
Yeah.
but that was the moment that I had to have faith.
Yeah. I think it
And
was a crossroad. Either you
yes,
go that direction or you lose all your faith, I guess. And I'm really glad that you decided to work with it. And okay, let me bring this along on this journey because I don't know where this journey is going.
exactly. And it was definitely, it was weird because it was the darkest time of my life, but it was the happiest time of my life. I was a senior in high school. I
Everything was great, right? You were going to go to college and
Yes.
you got accepted and right?
Yeah, so that process was also different because she was the one that was super school. So when it came to the time that it happened, I had not been accepted to one college yet. So now I'm like, I'm not going to college. I need to be there with her.
Right.
But from that, I turned that fuel
Yeah.
and that I'm sorry, I turned the fire into fuel.
Right.
And I applied to different schools because again, it was the best time because I was a senior and everything was going well for me
Yeah.
and I had friends and I was doing sports. But then it was the worst time because whenever the volume went down and things got silent, that's when I had to live with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're so like aware of your responsibilities and the kind of man you want to be. It's really admirable because you have such a high bar for yourself.
thank you.
You're welcome. And it's incredible because you have brought her along on a journey as well because she's continuing to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you guys really showed up for your mom in the last month or two. And so it must have been actually gratifying to feel like, hey, I can take care of my mom.
Exactly.
That's a good feeling.
Yes, it truly was. Having the village, having the support system. My dad, seeing him step up in ways that I already saw, but it was heightened at that point.
And it was immediate. Like it was like, oh my gosh, okay, tomorrow, Jalen and I have to. This is going to be our new schedule. This is how we're going to get through.
It was no precursor to, hey, this is what you're about to go through. It was like, hey. At the time, my brother were 6 years apart, so he was having to transition at that point as well.
Goodness.
And now I'm 24, he's 18, and things have progressed. I mean, honestly, you look backwards and you're like, whoa, I don't look like what I've been through.
Incredible.
And bringing it back to motivational speaking, it's like when I went to therapy, I'm an open advocate for therapy.
Very good. It's so important. It's so important, right? Like there's just there's just no negotiating.
Mm-hmm. Like you have to take care of yourself. A lot of people take care of everyone else around them without checking in with themselves.
Your mom too probably did a lot of that when she was, an executive and right. She took care of everyone and probably did a great job running her life and her work and social, family, everything. Is she able to speak? Is she able to?
Yes. I mean, honestly, so she went from that 10%.
That's a miracle.
And now she's at like 75, 80.
Oh,
so, I mean, God is good. I mean, things turned around completely. She still is shooting for the 100%. We're still praying for the best for the 100%.
Oh, she's trying so hard, right? Her heart is in rehab.
She's a fighter.
Through.
Yes.
Thank heavens, because it's a long way that she's come, isn't it? She's come a long way.
Yes, she's come a long way. My family as a whole, we've all come a long way. Giving honor to God again because
Absolutely.
He is he's the reason that we are here right now. And, you know, going through my path, I growing up, I went through a lot of things on my own, mentally, emotionally, physically. In every aspect, I had my own share of figuring things out.
Yeah.
And I became an advocate because I know how I used to feel. So my promise to myself back then was I'll never let anybody around me feel like I used to.
Wow.
So that's where motivational
That's
speaking, the
love.
passion came from.
Yeah, right.
It was like, if one of my friends, one of my loved ones, someone that I care about in my inner circle, that's where it started. In my inner circle, if they're feeling down, no, I will take out the time to make sure that I bring peace back into their lives. And then it went from inner circle to exterior to friends to now the world. And anybody I can get in contact with, I make sure that I try to pour something into them.
Right.
You know.
Right. You have such a great big heart, honestly. It's amazing. I can't imagine how proud your parents are of you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
You know, you want to make them proud. They're such lovely people. And they're just darling. Like, they're just, you know, they're superstars in their own way and their work and everything, but they're just lovely people, like good souls, right?
Thank you. And let me ask you a question. It could be generic, it could be small, it could be big, but what's something right now that either you've been through or you're going through currently that you know is a little different? It could be good, it could be bad. What's something that, or it could be a challenge, but preferably a challenge?
I guess trying to make enough money to live on, really. It sounds simple, but it's an ongoing process, you know, and when you trust people at one job and you're like, oh, this is going to be enough, but then it's not, like, it's like a serial trust thing that sort of hasn't really panned out. Like, I feel like I'm still looking for the thing that's going to be where I can settle and actually have enough to live on. So do you feel that with a lot of young people, that, you know, we don't really have this path to, you know, you can afford a car and you can afford a home, and, like, I feel like that's out of reach for a lot of us. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. Like, there's no age when it comes to that.
Yeah.
It's literally life. It's literally us as a human being having to deal with the things that we did not ask for.
Right.
So, especially people my age, in my age bracket, in my age group,
I really see that.
Society makes it look a certain way to say you have to have this at this age. You have to have a certain car. You have to have a certain house. You have to have the certain materialistic things in your life, or you have to have this social status or this professional status at this age, but that's not the case. See, the thing is, if you think about life in the way of a ladder, you can't jump from the 3rd step up to the 8th step before you reach the actual top, right?
No. Yeah.
So a lot of times we walk up the 1st step, the 2nd step, the 3rd step, and then we expect to be on 8, 9, and 10. But those steps that you just passed, step 1, step 2, step 3, those are the steps that are leading you to what you need to know and grow to get to where you want to be. So a lot of times we are so focused at looking at the end result, and we're not living in the moment now because we
can't skip.
Exactly. You're pretty much living in the past, present, and future at the same time, and you can't do that. And if you think of a car, the windshield is the biggest frame that you can see in the car.
Yes, it is.
But the mirrors, the left, right, and the rearview mirror behind you is so small because it's not meant for you to stare at too long.
Wow.
The bigger picture is in front of you for a reason.
True.
And if you stare at what's behind you too long and let that affect where you're going, then you will crash at what's in front of you.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes we will have to take detours. Sometimes we will have to take another highway. Sometimes we will have to take another road in order to get us to where we want to be. Right. But at the end of the day, there's no time limit on how fast you have to get there. Yeah. The thing is about getting to and through the goal that you set. So where we go wrong is we say, well, I don't want to say wrong, but where people typically go on the side of the road and they hit some bumps.
Just to sort of detour,
shift,
just like on the shoulder for a minute, you know?
Right. Typically when that happens is when you're focusing on who's around me, what are they doing?
Right.
Where are they at?
Right.
What is oh, I need to be here. Oh, I said I wanted to be here, but if that was never a part of your plan, or if that's not when it was supposed to happen,
Mm-hmm.
imagine if you got every single thing that you asked for
Mm-hmm.
when you asked for it. You would fumble it. It would fall, it would drop, it would break, it would shatter.
Yeah.
But if
And you
you
wouldn't.
wait, it's right there.
Yeah, I think that, you have to become, like, so it takes a while to become. You've become who you are. And it's
Exactly.
the becoming, it's a process, and it's a necessary process. And it's okay if it takes a little bit of time or a lot of time. It doesn't matter, because you arrive at where you meant to go. Like,
Right.
and if you didn't set the goal in the first place, then you wouldn't be able to overshoot it like you are. So,
Right.
it's kind of, it's really good to be, I think, to give yourself a break, really, do you think?
Yes, give yourself a break. Give yourself grace. That's a big thing. Allowing yourself to mess up. It's okay not to be okay. When I realized it was okay not to be okay, that's when I became okay.
Wow.
Because when you focus on, oh, nothing's going right in my life, oh, I don't have enough money for this bill, oh, I can't reach this status, oh, I was once friends with this person, but I'm no longer friends with this person.
Right.
Sometimes things are a lesson or a blessing. Some things are for a reason or it's for a season. These things are not always concurrent with one another,
Right.
to where it consistently stays on path where it's always good. You have to go through some of the storm and the struggles in order to leave those things behind.
Right.
To go to deeper waters, you have to tread. You have to get through certain things in order to get to that deep place.
And it gets deep sometimes, doesn't it?
Really
it's
does.
like, whoa, we have to try not to drown and just kind of keep swimming, I guess. But yeah, those are really good analogies, because I feel like we are, if we can set ourselves on a pathway and then, be motivated enough to keep going, and also to take others with us.
Yes.
I really feel that about you. I really feel like you want to take others along in the journey, and that's what just, you have such a great, big, beautiful heart. And so I think that, I'd be happy to feature you on future shows if you'd like. I think
Of
that
course.
would be
Yeah.
such a pleasure. And but we could think of, what kinds of things do you want to talk about, and then you can kind of put the word out to your community. Hey, we're going to be talking about this, on this Friday, and that kind of thing. Because yeah, like, you came here to go through those things so that now you can speak about them. So if you had an easy life, it's almost as if, what would you talk about, right?
Exactly. And sometimes, as again, I'm human as well. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes it's very hard to, while you're going through those things, it's
Yeah.
hard to remember that the light is at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even get caught up in what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking or what I'm experiencing. But again, sometimes you just have to take a step back, and you have
Yeah.
to restructure, replan,
Right.
re-envision where you want to be. And sometimes it's going to change, because again, some plans are not our plans. Some plans we've created because we've seen somebody else do it. Sometimes we've created these plans because this is what feels right, and it's not really what's right. So when we
Wow.
consistently,
I love that.
thank you.
Yeah.
So when we consistently reprogram ourselves, even GPS, sometimes you're driving on the road and it literally will say recalculating, and it sends you a different way
That's so true.
because it might be an accident or construction or a detour ahead. Sometimes we have to restructure just like that. We have to find a different path in order to
Incredible.
still get where we want to be.
Yeah. And sometimes things are meant to happen in a certain way. Like, it's great that you weren't on vacation somewhere really far away when this happened to your mom. You were able to
Right.
just, and how sweet of your uncle to come and get you. Because if you're so scared and in shock like that, like, you may not have been able to drive if you're just, so it's great that you could go into that situation and see the family with him.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
weren't going in, like, alone or with a couple of buddies or whatever. It's just, it was really perfect the way that it kind of worked out. And I guess that there's a reason for your mom to have to go through to really become even more of a strong person than she already was. She
Yes.
was already a finished product. But I think that, she's taught all of you patience and, compassion and everything that you become to be kind in a situation like that. I don't know. Does that make any sense to you?
Oh, it does. And that during that process is where my favorite Bible scripture came from.
What is
That's
it?
Proverbs 3, verse 5 through 6. And that's, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not to your own understanding, but acknowledge all of his ways, and he will direct your path. So really, when you break that down, is trusting him with everything that you have.
Right.
Don't lean on your own understanding because you may not know.
We often don't.
Right. Acknowledge all of his ways because he knows best and he will direct our path. So that's where that came from as far as that's where that resonated in my life. And I try to encourage anybody that I can, if you, whether you're spiritual or not, if you are, find other people that are. Find your village. Go to the Bible. Go figure it out. Go read about it. If you're not spiritual, then go find something or somewhere that you can find your purpose. You can fulfill what's inside of you. You can find your peace again, you know. And I understand that everyone has a different walk and a different setup of their life, but that doesn't mean that we all don't deserve the same things, which is happiness, genuine happiness, which is understanding, true,
deep down,
yes,
right?
deep, as you said, deep down inside, yes. That doesn't mean that we don't all deserve that as people. So,
but it's great to think that, you know, we can help each other get there.
right.
It's such a pleasure to talk with you, Jonathan. Can you give me your, if people want to learn more about what you're doing, can you just spell the name of the website again, please? It was
JTM Speaks.
JTM.
So if you go on any social media platforms, if you just search JTM or JTM Speaks, JTM Speaks 1, any of those,
We'll find you.
they'll pop up. That's TikTok, Facebook, IG, any social media platform, LinkedIn. You know, I'm on there. I'm not easy to find. I'm very easy to
I
find.
think you're easy to find.
And I'm easy to get in touch with. If there is anything that, you know, we can work through together. I just don't want people feeling like they're by themselves or alone out there. And I'm just trying to grow my network. I'm just trying to reach more people.
Yeah, because it really feels great you feel like you're living your purpose when you're helping others. You know, it's kind of like find that gift and then give it away.
Exactly.
We're doing pretty good. I think we have this is like three minutes. This is saying 40 seconds, so I'm gonna trust that. But yeah, I think that is there like maybe an email address if people have questions for you, something like that? Are you reachable that way?
Yes. So
okay?
That's jtmspeaks1@gmail.com.
Oh, that's easy.
Yes, right. I keep everything kind of
right,
kind of the same. It's just funny because, you know, the title of my business, where it came from, was so accidental. It was just kind of a conversation, and then I'm like, what would my stage name be? Because, you know, my name is Jonathan. I didn't want to, you know, just go by Jonathan.
Yeah.
You know, I was trying to think like what could stick in someone's head, and Jay the Motivator just popped out, and that's literally like,
perfect. And
you know,
it feels
who I am.
right, doesn't it?
It does.
That's
it
kind
does.
of the acid test is how does it feel?
Yeah, it feels great. You know, and I'm just so grateful to be in this position right now, especially at my age. You know, a lot of rooms that I walk into, they say, "Oh my gosh, you're so young."
You're the speaker?
But, you know, once I speak or once I you know, let a couple things out based on my experience, then they're like, "Oh, you're the speaker."
Yeah,
you know, so,
right, exactly. Then they say it a whole different way.
Exactly. And I love that because it's like, no, like age is nothing but a number.
So true.
It's really about what you've been through and how you perceive things, how you think about things, how does your mind process. And once you get a grip on that, like I said, rehabilitation starting with the inside, letting it out.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, if you ever want to put out a book or whatever, you know, we're here for it. So
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Much appreciated. Thank you for your time
as
well.
It's such a pleasure to meet you. I've known your dad for a couple of years and just really admired his just very grounded sense of like, he just seems to know exactly how to do things. He's very strategic. He's very analytical. And he has like this amazing brain, but I think just like you, he has like a really great heart.
Thank you. Yes,
and
I definitely got a lot of that from him.
You got a lot of that from him, right? Because he's influential. That
yeah,
one.
He is. He is.
You know?
Yes, very appreciative.
We want to try to, you know, sort of impress him if we can at
right.
all. Like,
right.
I just like to. But what a kind, good soul. And I'm so glad that he has such lovely children. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I look forward to having you on again, Jonathan.
I look forward to coming back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It'll be soon, all right?
Yes, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good.